And that's where we're keeping our focus this morning, looking at the lingering fuel situation that we have in the country. And joining us from our Abuja studios to look at this is Mele Kyari. He's the Group General Manager, Crude Oil Marketing Division of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning. The point that we are at now seems to suggest that there is a gap in supply. Could you confirm that?
No, I thank you very much for this opportunity, and I confirm to you that there is no gap in supply. We need to step back to see where we're coming from. First of all, why do we have this situation in the first instance? That's very critical to answer the situation of today. The first instance, it started with a very mild rumor that there will be increase in pump price of petroleum product. And that led to what is called panic buying. Panic buying means people go to the stations to buy products that they don't need. People who normally buy 2,000 naira worth of product will now buy 10,000 worth of it. And then people rush to go to buy product into their cars and take them back to their homes to hold and to expect that the product will not come again. And then thirdly, that there are people who take advantage of this this situation and take products to locations that are not accessible. For instance, during the group managing directors impromptu visit to some locations yesterday, as you must have seen in the media, there are a number of locations which are completely remote, which are holding up to 36,000 liters of product. So that creates a hole in your supply scheme. And that hole means that you can actually people consume or take away 5 days of supply in 1 day. Then that hole needs to be plugged in. And therefore, you will see what will seem like there's a supply gap in the situation. And what we did was to come forward and add additional supply that is, under normal circumstances, are not required. And that means that you have to add more volumes into the system. You have to prioritize how you dispense with it, where you take it to, who takes it, and also to make sure that at the end of the day, it reaches the end point, which is the consumer. Of course, we have a situation, and that situation is being completely addressed.
At some point, was it about 2 or 3 days back, we got the report that you said that you have got vessels on the sea that is heading towards Nigeria. Have those vessels landed?
There are 13 vessels that are at various stages of discharge operations today. As a matter of fact, today, in quantitative terms, we have over 500 million liters of petrol in our marine stock, which means that these are vessels that have arrived at their various stages of discharge, and they are on their way to the storage depot. Then also you have over 400 million liters of products on land. That means if you combine these two, what it tells you is that at 35 million liters consumption a day, you have 28 days of supply already in your hands. And in addition to that, there are another 10 vessels that are now at various stages of discharge and arrival, which means that in the next 10 to 15 days, that you will see a barrage of vessels that are going to arrive or will discharge. And we think that the hole that is created by the initial shock will be addressed by this.
Why do we have this situation where the NNPC, or should I say the government now, and the independent marketers are having this fight? Because it was reported largely yesterday, and is largely believed also, that they owe you about 25 billion naira, which they admitted to. At least the Moment secretary was here with us yesterday. He said, yes, that is very possible. But the agreement was that you deduct as you supply them. In the meantime, you owe them $2 billion. How do we reconcile this difference, just so that we don't have this kind of situation to linger any longer and even not to happen in the future?
I think there are these 3 separate issues you have raised. One of them is the debt situation between NNPC and Moment and the depot owners. Typically, this business is a forward sale business, and there are a number of possibilities. First, you can sell on credit, you can sell in advance, and you can also sell on day-by-day basis. And the situation they are referring to is the situation where we sold to them on a forward sale basis. They pay for money so that when the products arrive, we sell to them. That's just a trade debt issue. And also, I'm sure you must have seen the reports from NNPC that some of them are also owing us. So it's a balancing issue. But the reality is that when you have a situation like this, NNPC as a national oil company, and with the responsibility of making sure that products reach and the common man at the least cost, in the shortest frame of time, we have a responsibility to make sure that we have a clear strategy. We cannot give it to product to situation or to location of facilities where it will not quickly reach the end user. So in situations like this, what you normally do is to strategize to see what is the best way to close this gap. And the best way to do it is to make sure that you take to depots that government has control over, which are the NNPC depots or NNPC throughput depots, to take it to customers who have wide reach to the grassroots with a number of fuel stations across the country, and also so that you avoid situation where you get stuck in some location. For instance, as in the recap that you showed, you will see the gridlock that is the effect of Apapa in Lagos. What that means is that even if you have product in certain depots, you cannot take it to the end user. Therefore, you must strategize a way of making sure that these products get to the locations where it can easily reach the fuel station within the shortest period of time. And as you have also pointed out, you will see that currently there are back-to-back supplies to Warri, Ogara, Port Harcourt, and Calabar to make sure that we ease Lagos and also making sure that delivery to other locations are made easier. Yes, definitely there are issues around debt position between us and our partners, but definitely these are trade debts. And you must also understand too that when situations like this come, people rush to pay money, and I need to make this very clear. People want to invest so that they can make quick returns. And that's the situation that has happened. So everybody wants to buy from NNPC. And of course, there's no option today because of the pricing situation that we're facing. But the reality today is that we are doing everything possible to make sure that this reaches the common man, and in line with Mr. President's clear directive that we need to get rid of this situation as quickly as is possible, take out this suffering from Nigerians. Okay, and we understand the situation, we understand the gravity of the situation, we understand our obligations.
Yes. Brilliant. But let me come in here again. Let's just focus a little bit more on the debt situation that you and the independent marketers are facing now, because that seems to be a major bone of contention at the moment. We paid NNPC, according to the papers, we paid NNPC 90 billion naira, but got no fuel. How is this possible that you were paid and they didn't get the fuel? And this is dating back to October this year.
I'm absolutely sure that these are not October debts, completely not October debt. I'm very sure of this. And it couldn't have been an October debt. That's very clear. But it is very possible that trade debts can reach that quantum. And also, we program these supplies to these customers on the basis of arrival of our vessel. They know this. And nobody's telling you that if you pay today, you get the product tomorrow. We never promised that. But the reality today is that they have to wait, and then we schedule them. I'm very sure that we have scheduled all of them to get the supplies as soon as possible, and those debts will be cleared. And the other converse side of it is that they're also owing us money. And I'm sure they admit that in good faith.